Hello, I'm Joseph. I wanted to show an update on my Twitch alert system. I introduced some more updates to the web app, and then two animation systems. One is kind of already like a pre-programmed one that you can download yourself, but me is introducing my own that's more specifically tailored for Raylib, which is the backend rendering that you would have seen in a previous video. So let me just first show the web app here. So this is just like when you first boot up the app, this is what you're going to see, a sign up. So I'm going to go ahead and sign up here, admin, admin, admin. This is using libsodium, the password hash, so it's very secure, but also it's intended to only run on localhost. So if you try to run this on the external link that you use with like ngrok or localhost.run, it's not going to work because it's trying to always access localhost. That is kind of a preventative measure. If somebody gets access to your backend system, they're not going to try to brute force into it and to try to mess with your stuff here. So in debug mode, it's 15 seconds. In production mode, it's like 2 seconds. So it'll be a lot quicker to set up and stuff like that. In terms of Twitch here, you can go to Twitch, authorize your app, and then it sets up a webhook, and then Twitch should start to try to, get this to be authorized or certified or whatever. It's like a challenge thing that they send that you need to send back. You can add in new Twitch things here. It preloads the callback URL and the secret. It just generates a random secret every time. So if you want to do a webhook for a channel subscribe, when somebody subscribes to you, you hit OK. Obviously, this needs to be a little bit more integrated in that when somebody subscribes to you, how do you hook up the animation? That's all still done at compile time. It's not into this app, but that will be happening at some point there. So that's just the web app there. If I go ahead and close this out and then reopen the webhooks here, you'll see that it's still pending verification. So whenever that does go out successfully, it'll change. So that's the web app. There's not really too much there. The bigger parts is the animation. So let me go ahead and so you're going to hear something. Let me just put half right now, half audio, because I've added audio. Yeah, you can hear that. So it's pulling from a JSON file now. If I go to my JSON file and I change the volume to 0, the next time it plays, you'll see that there's no audio to it. So there's animations available from playing to stopping, from pitch to volume. These are things that are available for that. This thing does crash because of it. The way I'm using it is music streaming versus just loading up a static sound file. So it may crash a couple times here and there. I need to change how I specify this type here. So I have sound to be specified, but I may just switch it out between sound and music. This way, if you want to have like a longer music playing type of thing versus just like a 3-second sound, it can use that system instead, because it seems to crash sometimes too for whatever reason. The big thing here is you'll see the little cat. Let me move the cat up some. I think it's the Y position. So if you do 50, there we go. So you can see, like, as I'm changing this JSON file, it's in real time changing. That's the intent. So this way, when I do introduce some other software to handle this animation, you're not having to run this per se, but you can get like real time feedback on how this is all working here. You get width and height as well. So if I wanted to make this smaller, 250, I can do so. There you go, it's smaller. The whole point of Lottie is that it is an open source file format for vector animations. It supports like raster and stuff like that, but most software you don't do raster animation there. So if I go to my Safari and I go to lottiefiles.com, you kind of get the idea. You go to discover or design free animations, whatever. You can kind of see all the different animations that you could potentially load there. So you can see that. The other thing is, okay, well, how do you make Lottie files? So there are integrations. The most popular one is Adobe After Effects, but now Adobe Animate has it. Cavalry, Flow, Haiku, Sketch, and Keyshape. All these ones that I mentioned are paid. Keyshape is the cheapest, like $30, but it's Mac OS only. All these other are fairly expensive to use. So if you wanted to make your own complex vector animation inside like a robust 2D animation software, you can do that. Now the problem with Lottie is that it is a pre-computed animated file format. So you can't introduce like dynamic text. You can't change things on the fly because it is all pre-computed. The two free options here are Inkscape. Now Inkscape does not support animation up front. It does have like animation plugins per se, but it doesn't, you still can't get like an animation export out of Inkscape via Lottie file format. The general issue is that the primary reason you would use this is that if you wanted a vector scalable graphic without losing quality when you go up or down, you can do so. The other one here is, I don't know if I'm saying this right, Sigfig. I have my washer going in the background if you can hear that, but yeah, Sigfig Studio. This is a full-fledged 2D animation software. It supports like music and stuff like that. But they have support for Lottie. They have a workflow for it on how to get successful Lottie exports out. It's built directly into it, so you're not downloading like a third-party plugin for it. It's in their software themselves. So it's free, it's open source, available Mac, Windows, and Linux, just how this alert system will be as well. So it's, you know, if you needed something for free, you can't afford it, but you want to make your own animations, complex vector animations, you can do that. Now, in terms of like dynamic animations, you can change on the fly per alert and stuff like that. That's my own file format. So that's what you were seeing here. So let me just show that again real quick. So that this is my own file format I've made. I parsed it in. I have animations. There's some catches here. So currently I am not able to animate floats. This is a limitation with the library I'm using. There's a way around that, but I didn't want to deal with it right now. And even then, there's no point to really trying to animate floats per se, because there's not anything that I would want. Like you think about opacity from 0 to 1 or something like that. The way that Raylib handles it is that it's not a 0 to 1 type of thing. It's 0 to 255. So there's no point to having that float then translate to an integer. It's just extra computation time. So I think a lot of the stuff will always just be integers up front. A couple other things I want to mention here. The font isn't loading correctly. I'm not sure why. But there's clipping, so I have clipping enabled. There's sub objects, so you can see the text message here. I don't have the events raw data coming into the system just yet, but I do support actual computational variables. So for example, here I have my X, my Y is bringing up from the rectangle background X and rectangle width, and then as well. So you can put in variables, you can put in calculations. So when you look at like the variable name here, it's called var rec background. That's where you're seeing this is that. So once it's computed, you can access it. The catch with this is it is kind of organization based. So like if I wanted to access the rectangle right border inside of my or before, like in my rectangle background on one of these properties, it wouldn't work because it's not yet rendered. It hasn't pre-computed these variables yet offhand. So yeah, it's just some limitations there, but you can see I have text, I have images, I have sound, I have full Lottie animation. So here you can see the Lottie animation there as well. There are, you know, tweening properties, keyframes that you can put in and alter. So yeah, that's a lot to kind of go over, but that's kind of like where that's at. And it crashed right now because of an issue with the WAV file and stuff like that. So that's the general gist of it. In terms of like what I want to do next, I want to get a Windows build for sure, because I know more people will be using Windows than a Mac computer. The other thing would be I want to make a kind of just really lean animation system that you can have in yourself. So when you like look at this kind of flow chart type of thing, this would be my idea here where, oh, the thing crashed. So let me go ahead and play this again. Okay, refresh this, ref editor. Okay, so you can see that, you know, like it would be the idea of like you could be able to create very basic shapes, be able to move them around, create keyframes, and then save it up. If you were loading up like graphics, fonts, audios, you can do that. This like WAV, MP3, OGG files are all supported out of the box. But you know, it's, you know, that would be my next step. I do still have some work to do for fixing the audio. I also don't have every possible shape I want to support. If I open up, I think it was the animation. animation DTO. I still have group, which is not even rendering anything, but it just captures the exposition and passes it along. Then I have circle, triangle, line, ellipse, and polygon here. So those are the things I still need to implement. Obviously, it's gonna be a lot simpler than everything I've done before because those are just shapes that I'm rendering out. I have some other things, properties I still need to support, like gradients, being able to rotate and having borders, and as well as some roundedness to a shape. Like for example, if you had a rounded rectangle, that would be possible. Now clipping doesn't work with rounded rectangles, but it's just what I have for right now to work with. So in terms of clipping itself, it is only supported on just like regular rectangles, no rounded borders. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less it. I think I want to change how colors and opacity works. Technically, like in HTML, when you deal with opacity, it makes everything in that group or sub-objects also less transparent. That's technically not how it works now. I do want it to work like that. So maybe when I redo color, it will have RGBA rather than just RGB. So it'll be more standing to that. And then opacity would control the entire opacity for everything, all the objects and sub-objects between it as well. But yeah, I mean, that's it. It's, you know, in terms of a next build, I don't know. But yeah.